This is your Unit 6 review. It is on radical functions and expressions. Number 1, an expression shown to the right is 3 root 37x. Which value of x makes the expression equivalent to 12 root 37? So how do we get from here to here? I see that I have to multiply by 4. All right. So what number went in here to where a 4 would come out? Well, when we have roots, for example, let's say the square root of 25, we break that down to 5 times 5, because when we have a pair, we take it out. And we take only one out because this is really saying the square root of 5 times the square root of 5, which is just 5. So I need 2 4s inside. So really, to bring out a 4, I need 2 4s inside. So this number would have had to have been 16. Or you could have just substituted every number in there, and which one would have given you the same decimal. You could have tried that. Here, if x is greater than 0, or just positive, what is this? Well, they're all being multiplied, so you can put them all under the radical. When you have a pair, you're bringing it out. So your answer is D. Number 3, you can simply put this into your calculator to get the answer, or 3 times 5 times 3, because that's what the root will give you. 3 times 15. This is positive. This goes to the denominator, and we get a 5th. You could have also just put this in your calculator. So we could have 3 times the quantity 5 second square root 9. Get out of there, close your parenthesis to the negative first. It would have been 0.2. If you weren't sure what that was, you could hit the math button, and it will tell you. Number 4 asks to simplify. So the square root of a fraction is the square root of the numerator over the square root of the denominator. Technically, that's your answer. However, we cannot have radicals in the denominator. It's just kind of mathematicians pretty much got together and decided that this is not okay. Because can you really divide by something that never ends? No. So we have to what's called rationalize it, make it a rational number. Well, in order to get rid of square rooting, we have to square or multiply it by itself. If I have the square root of 15 times the square root of 15, I'm going to get a positive 15, and therefore I have made it from irrational to rational. But I can't just take a number and multiply it by something and call it something new. It still has to have the same value. So whatever I do to the bottom, I need to do to the top. Any number divided by itself is technically 1. So if I multiply by 1, I'm really not changing it. So this is my new answer. I can make it a giant number, but I know I need to break it down. So it's going to be 21 is 3 times 7. 15 is 3 times 5. Take out the 3's, and I'm left with 7 times 5, which is 35 over 15. This reduces to a 5th, root 35, and your answer is C. Here's the thing. Square root of 35, enter, divided by 5 is about 2.958. The original answer oh boy, let's try this again. The original answer that's not right. That's 1.183. So what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Let's make sure I'm putting this in correctly. I put it in correctly. Did I put this in correctly? Oh, I didn't type it in correctly. That was why. So this is 1.18, and this is 1.18. If they weren't the same, then that's not the correct answer. So even if you forget how to do it on your Keystone, put one in the graphing calculator and find the value. So if we do the square root of 21, and we divide that by 5, you get 0.91. Well, that's obviously not it. If we try part A, square root of 315 divided by 15, we get that 1.18 as well. But realize this isn't simplified. So while you get the same value, that's not your answer. Okay, so you have to use some thinking there. Same thing here. Number 5, which expression is equivalent to 4 times over the quantity 3 plus root 2? Well, we can't have radicals in the denominator. The problem is here, if you have a square root in the denominator, just multiplying by a square root isn't going to make it go away. It's a whole thing now. It's a quantity. So we multiply by what's called the conjugate. The conjugate is the opposite sign of what you have. So that's its conjugate. And what you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So the top now is 4 times the quantity 3 minus root 2 over 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative root 3 is negative 3 root 2. Positive 3 root 2. Negative 2. So what did I do? I'm trying to rationalize. Pretty much I'm giving it a makeover. These cancel. 9 minus 2. 7. So which one is this? We have to distribute 12 minus 4 root 2 over 7. Sometimes I don't distribute because things can be simplified, but this can't. So my answer is B. Once again, you could put it in the graphing calculator and find the decimal values to see if they're the same. All right. Here we have to FOIL. 2 times 3 is 6. 7 times 6 is 42. I'm just going to leave it unsimplified for now. 2 times 2 and its negative is negative 4 times the root 14. 9 root 18. Negative 6 root 6. Okay. When I break this down, what do I get? Well, I got 6 and 7. Well, 6 and 7 can't break down anymore. 14 is 7 and 2. That can't break down anymore. 18 is 3 and 6. That can break down. So this can break down to 9. 3 times 3 times 2. You take out the 3, you get 27 because 3 times 9, root 2. This can't break down. So we have all these. We have all of these. I need a 27 root 2. Your answer is A. 7. Find the length of the missing side in simplest form. Well, this is a right triangle. This is the hypotenuse. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for a missing side. It doesn't matter which leg, these are called legs, you use because it's addition. And we're going to simplify before we solve. 64 plus x squared equals 256. Subtract 64 from both sides. And then unsquare or square root the square root of 192. Well, we got to break that down. Let's do 192 divided by 2 is 96. 96 divided by 2 is 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24. So we have 2, 2, 2. We have 24, which is 2 times 12, which is 2 times 6, which is 2 times 3. That's a lot. Okay. Find a 2, bring it out. One of the 2's bring it out. And one of the 2's bring it out. And we have a root 3. So it's 8 root 3. Your answer is B. Technically, that's your answer, but it's not simplified, so it's not correct. Number 8, what's this radical in simplest form? Well, 24 can break down to 2 and 12. 12 is 2 and 6. 6 is 2 and 3 over 4. If you have to go off to the side and make a factor tree, then that is what you have to do if you cannot do it in your head. Okay? Find a pair, bring it out. Put the 2 and the 3 back together. And remember, pause the video. Look at it for a bit. Go back to it. Always try these on your own first. Your answer is D. Number 7, what is the perimeter of a rectangle? Well, they said a perimeter and they said a rectangle, so you better draw one. It says the length is 5 root 2 plus 3 root 5. Well, if this side length is 5 root 2 plus 3 root 5, then so is the other one. It says the width is 4 root 2 plus 6 root 5, so then the other one is 2. They're asking what the perimeter is. If I have a 4 root 2, a 5 root 2, that's a 9 root 2, and another 9 root 2 is an 18 root 2. I have a 3 root 5 and another one, so that's 6, 12, 18. You just are combining like terms here. So your answer is B. So this is technically your answer. But wait, what's the square root of 9? 3. So this is your answer. Okay. All right, number 11. The length of a diagonal of a box is 18 feet. Which length in feet is equal to the length of the diagonal? All right, so all they're saying here is which one is equal to this. So we break it down. 2 times 9, which is 3 and 3. Your answer is 3 root 2. Just a fancy way of asking you to simplify. All right, number 12. It says simplify. This is saying the 4th root of 81. This is saying the 3rd root of 27. So what number times itself times itself times itself gives you 81? It's not 9 because it's 9 and 9. We need 2 more. Is it 3? Does 3 times 3 times 3 times... Yep. So the 4th root of 81 is actually a 3. And 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, so this is also a 3. So your answer is 6. And if you're like, wouldn't remember that. Well, on your calculator, what you can do is 81 to the 1 divided by 4. Get out of there. Plus 27 to the 1 divided by 3. Okay? Here, they want you to subtract. So you get y root 6 minus square root of 27 minus y root 24. Make sure you're subtracting both. This can't be simplified anymore, but 27 is 3, 3, 3, and 24 is 2 times 12, which breaks down to this. If you need more space and you have to go slower, that's fine. This is just checking your answers. When you take a 3 out, you're left with 3 root 3. You're going to take a 2 out, you're minus 2y root 6. So 1y root 6, negative 2y root 6 gives you negative 1 root 6. Negative 1 root 6. And this is answer. It's not the first one. I don't see a 3y, a negative y, and a negative 3. Yep, didn't matter the order. Last one. Which one equals 14? No. The 14th root of 14? No. I take the square root of root 14 and then I square it. Yes. Okay, so the square root of 14 and then I square it. Yep. 14 to the 4th and then the square root? No. Same thing here now. Here, they want you to simplify. If I have a radical in the bottom, I need to get rid of it by putting in the bottom and the top. I'm going to get the square root of 10 over 2 times 2, because this is going to turn into a 2. So square root of 10 over 4. Can you break down 10? Yeah, 2 and 5, but that's it. Always make it a decimal to check. Here, we're saying we have 5 A's and a B. So take your A's out, and you're left with AB. That's what you should get. Okay. And here, what's the cube root of 8? 2. Or you could go into your math button, find the cube root of 8, which is 2. And then you could do 64 to the 1/2, which is 8. Why? Because 64 to the 1/2 is actually the square root of 64. We don't really write the 2 ever. So your answer is 10. All right, it's just like your test. And now we have open-ended questions in the back. Starting from the stationary position of the velocity of a roller coaster per second at the bottom of the hill can be modeled by this function. I want you to simplify the equation. Well, what's the square root of 36? 6. So you take 6 out. If you need to show the breakdown in between, that's fine. Determine the velocity of the roller coaster when you're at the bottom of an 11-foot hill. Okay. Number 19, a student simplified 4 root 125. The steps are shown below. One of the steps is incorrect. Write the incorrect step so that it can be correct. Well, you can't just separate them by pluses. You can separate them by multiplication is the problem. 125 is 5. So take 125 divided by 5. And 25, take it out. Okay. Use the correct step from part A to simplify. And we did. Really, we should be writing it down here. Next step up here, use the picture provided for parts A and B. Use the Pythagorean theorem to solve. One leg is 5 root 3. The other leg is 5. Now we square it. When we square 5, we get 25. When we square root the square root of 3, we get 3. If you're like, I wouldn't have done that, well, then put it in your calculator. What is 5 square root 3? Get out of here, close parentheses, squared. It's 75. 75 plus 25 is 100. 100 is c squared, therefore c is 10. Okay, here it says use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the missing sides. The hypotenuse is always across from the 90 degrees. If I have 1x squared and 1x squared, that's 2x squared. I divide both sides by 2 and I have 32. Therefore, x is the square root of 32. But can it be broken down? Absolutely. Break it down to where you get pairs. You can keep going, but honestly, if you just have a pair, then you're done. So your answer is 4 root 2 is each side. All right, your test, you're going to fill out the answer sheet, the open-ended, and submit if you are virtual.